Freedom of Information Act. FOIA. BZ Watchdog News Network.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen, patriots of transparency, you beautiful sunshine-loving freedom nerds? It's your boy BZ Watchdog, back in the concrete jungle we call Hillsboro, Texas, where the corruption is bold, the excuses are creative, and accountability is as rare as basic honesty at City Hall. Tonight's episode is a spicy one because we witnessed something absolutely historic. A Hillsboro City Council meeting without City Manager Megan Henderson present to run interference and do her usual last-minute damage control spin routine. That's right, no PR shield, no word salad explanations, no last second, nothing to see here, folks, smoke bombs. Just raw, unfiltered, city government awkwardness on full display. And guess what happened when the adult supervision left the room? Citizens started asking real questions. Conflicts of interest started getting called out. Shady relationships started getting side-eyed. And the officials started shifting in their chairs like teenagers caught with burner phones. We've got myself in there pressing the heat, and we're joined by another fearless activist from a neighboring town who came ready to light the accountability torch right along with us. You are about to see public servants get real uncomfortable when confronted with daylight. And let me tell you, sunlight was absolutely the best disinfectant last night. But before we jump into the actual council meeting, no, we got to talk about the juicy stuff first, because the exchanges lead up to this meeting, the conversations, the we didn't expect anyone to actually show up prepared energy, that's the real appetizer before the main course. So buckle up, get the popcorn ready, and make sure your comment fingers are warmed up. Before we roll it, smash that like button like it owes you money. Drop a comment, let them know the people are watching. Share this everywhere because local corruption hates viral exposure. And hit subscribe if you're tired of your town government thinking nobody's paying attention. Because trust me, we are watching now. Let's roll that footage. Tonight, we're exposing something they really hope nobody would notice. Police unions running their private operations out of taxpayer property. That's right, using police department addresses, conducting business in city buildings, and enjoying free perks that you pay for, all while telling the public it's totally normal. Spoiler alert, it's not legal. The Texas Constitution bans cities from giving public property or benefits to private organizations, and police unions are not government agencies. They are private labor groups. No public purpose, no written contract, no city control, well, then it's not convenient access. It's an unlawful gift of taxpayer resources. And when public officials allow it to happen, that crosses into abuse of official capacity under Texas law, Texas Penal Code 39.02, which is a crime, not an ethics violation. No amount of First Amendment excuses fix that either. Police departments are not public forums, and no private political or labor organization has a constitutional right to operate out of government buildings. So tonight we're pulling back the curtain, showing you the law, the documents, and the quiet deals nobody expected the public to question, because the days of hiding corruption behind a badge are over. Before we jump in, just remember, sunlight is the best disinfectant, and tonight we've got the floodlights on.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're here, Justin. Get to pick on you tonight instead of Anderson. I just want to get the criminal that filed the police union's name, abused the police office address. I hope you change that soon before I file those charges. It names you and about 4 other people on that association. You look at the law.
All right, folks. Next on tonight's episode of Small Town Power Plays and Hurt Feelings Theater, we turn our spotlight to the Chamber of Commerce Executive Director, Lynette Hirrell, who, by the way, is not a private citizen hiding behind a mailbox. She is a public figure in the community running a taxpayer-connected organization that works hand-in-hand with city leadership, which means, welcome to the public square, Lynette. Complaints are open mic now. Now, apparently, and I say apparently, some of my sarcastic commentary hit a sensitive nerve, because I received what I like to call the official Karen Gram, intent to sue edition. Yep, an honest-to-goodness defamation threat letter popped up over sarcastic nicknames, humor about publicly available Facebook photos, commentary, and obvious satire, all of which, I'll remind you, are constitutionally protected opinion and parody. And here's the best part. According to the paperwork, the attorney sending the warning hadn't even watched the video being complained about. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't make this stuff up. Your Honor, we'd like to sue over things that weren't even said. That's not a legal strategy. That's a guess with letterhead. Now, for comedic transparency, I even sent them screenshots of publicly shared social media content, not rumors, not hearsay, that already existed online. Because when people post their own weekend adventures, my friends, that's called fair commentary, fair play, not fabrication. And according to numerous folks who've reached out independently, people around town are suddenly very curious about me. Now, I don't know about you, but when people I've never met start getting questions relayed from multiple witnesses, that doesn't look like defamation. That looks like a good old-fashioned rumor mill. The same one that claims to hate gossip. Funny how those things work, right? And let's not forget the political subplot. Miss Harrell works closely with the city's economic development operations. And who's in that orbit again? Oh, that's right. City Manager Megan Henderson, who's MIA tonight at the City Council. And wouldn't you know it, once city records scrutiny increases, suddenly the personal attacks begin. Amazing coincidence timing. But tonight's not about speculation. It's about documentation, public records, clear facts, and receipts. Because as BZ Watchdog always says, sunlight doesn't bark, it exposes. And speaking of receipts, in the next clip, you'll also see a reminder that traffic laws apply to everyone equally, even folks who sign community checks and write economic cheerleading letters. Badges, titles, and business cards don't come with special driving privileges. Shocker, I know. So as always, I'm not making accusations. I'm showing you what exists publicly. I'm asking questions. I'm letting you, the audience, decide. Because threats don't silence journalism, they just make the investigation louder. Roll the footage.
They tried to sue me for defamation when I said about her being at the bar. And then she goes and turns around and goes to the bar, and my other person comes in and she starts running through. So what do you think of BZ Watchdog and spreading rumors around? So this is the chick right here. Notice how she goes around with no front license plate either? Breaking the law. No front license plate. That's fucking great. People want to spread rumors about me. Well, need to stop spreading rumors about me, Lynette. Stop hanging out the bar and stop asking about me. I know about that witness that you talked to at the bar on Saturday last week.
Address and please keep your comments for 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Ron Helms. I'm not giving my address. I'm here on behalf of the Italy, Texas News and Transparency Foundation. My understanding is the city has some situations going on with not only your police department but code enforcement. Thanks to the reporting of BZ Watchdog, you're getting a lot of attention. I don't know if you realize exactly how much attention you're getting, but I'm here tonight just to let you know how much attention you're getting. So I hope the city, and I'm here to advocate for the city to acknowledge these situations, address these situations, handle them with transparency and accountability, because that is part of what our nonprofit advocates for. We don't do this for money. We do this for civic engagement, to promote civic engagement, to promote transparency and accountability within local government. You'll hear me say that a lot once you look me up later. Fun fact about me, since you know nothing about me, the city of Italy is pursuing a criminal trespass case against me for allegedly trespassing in City Hall after a council meeting. It's going to be an interesting situation. Stay tuned. Hope y'all pay attention to what your police department is doing. It's not You have no right to follow unconstitutional orders. You all took an oath of office to uphold, protect the Constitution. I hope you actually honor it when push comes to shove. Some of these issues start coming out to light and getting more attention than they already are. That's about all I have to say. Again, I appreciate well, usually I say I appreciate your time, but it's not. I like to remind people it's our time. It's your right to come up and petition your government, your grievances, and I encourage everyone to practice that right because it's a lot of people fight for that right, and we need to exercise it. We need to exercise all of our rights. Otherwise, we may lose them. Right? How much time do I have?
1 minute, 10 seconds.
Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else? No, actually, I'll just take 1 minute just to stand here with a moment of silence in remembrance of everyone who has been victimized by the police. I back the blue, but I do not like bad cops. Fuck tyrants. Tyrants are not good for our country. They're not good for our local government. So we'll take just a brief moment of silence for the rest of my time to acknowledge police brutality in our country, acknowledge government is how, local government is how you address those issues responsibly. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, second person on the open comments list is Basil Zangari. Zangari, the same rules apply. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
All right, well, I'm back again. I'm not gonna say, I'm happy to be here because I know you guys aren't happy to have me, and I've got other cities requested me to come out. I did speak with Councilman Robinson and Councilman Jolly before this meeting started this morning, or this afternoon, this evening, regarding some ADA compliancy here at the historic building. You can follow up with them. They'll go more into detail. I'm not going to waste 3 minutes on it since they're aware of what's going on. You do have another problem. The jury trial that I watched last night was a joke. Y'all's judge has no idea how to run a proceeding. In fact, the judge's order right here, they can't even spell the word public right. In fact, it says PUBIC, not public. I took it right off the door when I left. That was in spite and out of retaliation after actually requesting permission to record. I was trying to be considerate, and y'all slapped me again with another reason to sue you. I don't want to do it, but you guys are going to get ready to give me no choice to do it. Stop breaking the law. Violating my rights is breaking the law, just to let you guys know that. Also, where in the minutes, resolution, council, ordinance, or anything, did you guys ever authorize that court to hold their authorization and jurisdiction of judicial proceeding in this building? I requested it. I haven't seen it. Which means that anything that happened in this building can be overturned and appealed, including any and previous juries that have taken place. Now, I'm not going to go here and say that that's a fact until I see my records request come back and confirm it, but I'm pretty sure that you guys have never approved it. I know you guys probably haven't approved it. It probably hasn't been previous few councils, but we'll find out on that. I'm kind of missing Megan, so I'm guessing you're handling the reports tonight. Okay. How much more time I got, Penny?
1 minute.
1 minute, okay. I was gonna go somewhere with something else, but I think I covered that. Also, did we have body cams 2 years ago? We did? Okay. The reason I asked is there was no evidence presented in that case. It was a he said, she said statement. I don't know how that could have found a guilt. I had doubt. There should have never been a conviction. And your judge and your prosecutor allowed it to happen. They also went ahead and dismissed every other case when I got here. So why didn't they have a jury trial? Why aren't we doing the things that we need to be doing? And every time you guys mess up, and every time you do something dumb, I'm gonna keep putting it out there. And if people keep spreading rumors about me from the bar to people that I know as witnesses, after trying to sue me for defamation about that comment, I'm gonna expose you. So I'm just addressing that. All right, thank you, Mr. Petty.
Okay, moving on to consent agenda. Deliberate and act on the approval of minutes for the regular meeting on November 18th, 2025. Act on the approval of bills. Deliberate and act on a resolution approving the property lease agreement by and between the city and Will Lawrence for the purpose of outdoor advertising along Interstate 35. And deliberate and act on a resolution approving selection of Walker Partners LLC to provide engineering services for the city's 2025 EDA disaster supplemental grant application and subsequent phases. Council, does anyone have any questions about any of those individual?
On the Walker Partners, who all did it? Four submissions. So is there a tally we can see tally? Okay. They're going to do our street runs. Walker.
So you want to take table? Take no action on that? Okay, we will take no action on the number 8 item, deliberate and act on a resolution approving selection of Walker Partners. So we're now looking at consent agenda items 5 through 7. For those, I'll entertain a motion. Got a motion and a second.
Councilmember Fleming. Councilmember Robinson. Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Richmond. Councilmember Jolly.
And again, for consent agenda item number 8, we'll take no action. Moving on to the regular agenda. Deliberate and act on a resolution act on resolutions to sell or exchange city-owned properties being A, Craig Street Lot 40C, B, Craig Street Lot 41, 217 Craig Street Lot 54B, McMullen Addition Block 65 Lot C, 414 South Church Street, McMullen Addition Block 49 Lot 3, 213 South Covington Street, and Hillsboro OT Block 4 Lot 8B, 115 South Waker Street.
Mayor, Council, the city has previously approved selling or to exchanging the clinic property, 2 lots at the north end of Williamson Street, 414 South Church Street, 213 South Covington Street, in the city records building, formerly municipal court, on South Wakefield Street. The city has received bids on several of these properties and may choose to accept or reject the highest bid received from each property. Do you want, Mayor, would you like for me to go over the bids?
Do you have those on the slide?
I believe so. No, sir.
Yep, go over the bids.
Okay. Gridiron and Solomon LLC, $15,000 for property ID 112155 Craig Street, Lot 40C. Gridiron LLC, $55,000 for property ID 112156 Craig Street, Lot 41. Do you want to go over all of them together or just do it one by one?
Councils, you just want to hear who we want. to the high bid, just the high bids for each.
Eric Fleming, 11,600 for property ID 112177, Craig Street, lot 54B, Smith Street. F&R Solutions, the Texas Theater, in exchange for property ID 113018, 115 South Waco Street. Gridiron LLC, 20,000 for property ID 107338, 414 South Church Street. Gridiron LLC, 12,000 for property ID 113974. Going back to make sure I told you the high bids for Craig Street, lot 40C. Gridiron and Solomon LLC was 15,000, and Gridiron LLC for property ID 112156 Craig Street, lot 41, 270 Craig Street was 55,000.
Council, does anyone have any questions regarding those
Just make sure on that Craig Street, lot 40C, Gridiron and Solomon LLC bid $15,000 for that property. Both of them.
So 41 and 40C were both at 15?
No,
Just 40C was at 15, right? 41 was at 55?
41 was at 55.
Council, any further questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve syndicate.
I have a question.
Councilmember Robinson? Aye. Councilmember Hernandez?
Aye.
Councilmember Richardson?
Hey, quick question. Let us finish.
Councilmember Jolly?
It's not a discussion item, but go ahead. And these were pretty much closed bids. I know that like when there's a appraisal district does sales and the county does sales, they go on the courthouse steps. My main question was like, in order to actually be able to maximize the amount of money that the city needs to be able to gain from the sales of these properties, we would want to do an open auction on courthouse steps. To me, that would make the most sense. I know we want to put in closed bids to say, hey, some people think that might work best, but in my opinion, that doesn't work best. I think some of these properties could have gone for more money. 40C, for example, 15,000. It's a good sized lot. It's a good location, good area of town. Anybody on the open market looking at 45,000 for that lot. Just saying, we could have probably got a lot more money if that's what would be in the best interest of the city. Would be able to actually put it up for an open forum.
I also had a question too.
Go ahead.
Well, just a question or statement, whether you want to discuss it or not. He brings up a good point about the closed bids. You got councilmen bidding on one of those properties. That's conflict of interest right there.
There were 3 or 4 other bids on that same property.
But he had inside information, like he said.
He did not have inside information. Although he bid on 3 or 4 different properties.
That's
my business. This is not where I like to live.
I'm just putting it on the record. That's
A request for public comment.
Mr. Helms, go ahead.
Appreciate you, sir. Just to concur with this gentleman, I think he makes a lot of very valid points. I think the city doing a closed bidding process for some, in my opinion, highly desirable property is probably not going to get the city the best bang for the buck. I think y'all should be very public with the bidding process. I believe if we have similar situations where I come from, where I grew up down the street. Admittedly, I know I didn't grow up here, but I like to flex my rights where I can. there's been some questionable auctions, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying that there's a lot of questions surrounding closed bidding procedures. For transparency, again, which is something I largely advocate for, open bidding is better for everyone. Thank you for your time and for letting me speak and for creating an open forum when you didn't need to. Thank you.
Okay. Next agenda item. Hold a public hearing, second reading, and deliberate and act on an ordinance regarding increase of contribution rate towards the city of Hillsboro's Texas municipal retirement system.
Mayor, council, this is the second reading to increase our employee contribution to TMRS from 5% to 6%. Be happy to answer any questions.
This does require a public hearing, so we'll open it up to anyone in the audience that would like to address this specific agenda item.
I just think it's kind of crazy that you guys are putting more money into employees when we have a water issue. And again, we're spending where we don't need to be spending. Everybody's, I think, is sacrificing. I think the employees could sacrifice another year on a retirement pension they're not going to see for 10, 15, 20 years to try to maybe allocate that money back to the water and maybe the roads and something else. So I don't agree with you guys trying to give them more benefits. They already get a lot of money for what they do or for what little they do. So that's all I've got to say.
Anyone else in the audience that would like to address this specific agenda item?
Sure, I'll flex my right to. Absolutely. You know, as a city, I don't know if y'all are going to answer questions or address questions. As a city looked to see if this is a competitive rate that y'all are raising it to, I'm not knowledgeable at all. But I do concur with his points. If you're suffering from water infrastructure issues, suffering from employee misconduct, allegedly, I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes. I believe that paying your employees more money, whether it be through their paycheck or through retirement, isn't really on the table until you address the respect and conduct of some of your employees. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience that would like to address this agenda item? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Got a motion in a second.
Councilmember Clement. Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Richmond. Councilmember Jolly.
Next item on the agenda, hold a public hearing, second reading, deliberate and act on an ordinance for a voluntary annexation request to institute annexation proceedings to enlarge and extend, including zoning designation, all that certain lot, tract, or parcel of land being 30.65 acres situated in the Ewan-Cameron Survey, abstract number 131, Hill County, Texas. In the same property by reference is recorded in volume 2374, page 327, the official public records of Hill County, Texas. Mr. Reinhardt.
That should say second reading on the PowerPoint. I believe it says second reading on the agenda. Just wanted to point that out. This being a second reading, I won't go into all the details that I did at the first reading. The location of the proposed annexation is shown on the map on the PowerPoint. Just to kind of give you some bearings, this is Bucky's right here, and this is the property proposed for annexation. This is Statesburg 579, and so it's just north of that right here. No one from the 200-foot notification came to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. There was nothing spoken for or against the P&Z. They recommended approval of the annexation. Should back up, it's the EDC that has this property that is proposing the annexation. And heavy industrial zoning is consistent with the future land use map. This would be located right in this vicinity. And the purple means it's recommended for industrial uses. Here's a surrounding zoning map. It's surrounded by the property that's adjacent to it is heavy industrial. Like I said, P&Z recommended approval of both the annexation and industrial zoning. If there's any questions, we'd be happy to entertain these.
Council, any questions for Mr. Reinhardt? require a public hearing. We'll open it up to anyone in the audience that would like to address this specific agenda item.
Is this the people that own the property, or are they voluntarily saying to annex it?
Yes.
Or is it the city?
It's the EDC that owns the property, and they're requesting the annexation, so it is a voluntary annexation. It is voluntary annexation request.
Anybody else in the audience?
Kind of in line with my question on the first reading, I feel like there should be a cost-benefit analysis done before a decision like this is made, because you know, as they have noted, there are a lot of concerns about water. There's a lot of concerns about expenses. Yes, they will probably bring in revenue from a property tax perspective. They will probably bring in revenue from sales tax if they do any kind of sales tax. But with all the other concerns, I would just expect that the city would want to have a cost-benefit analysis done before making such a decision. And I've actually been present at many of your meetings where we talked about the whole new plan and zones, and one of the things that they recommended and suggested is that we should not have annexed as many acreage or properties as we did in historically, and that, you know, in order for Hillsboro to get better holistically on roads and maintenance and all of that, that the annexation was part of that challenge and problem. And yet here we are trying to consider doing it again without any cost-benefit analysis being shared. Or maybe you've done it, but not shared. So that's the only thing I would request the city council members to think about before approving this.
Okay, anyone else in the audience that would like to address this specific agenda item? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Councilmember Fleming.
Aye.
Councilmember Robinson. Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Richmond. Councilmember Jolly.
Next item on the agenda here, and deliberate on the city manager.
Mayor, council, as we do all the time, the first council meeting each month goes over goals 1 to 4. Goal 1 ensure responsible, equitable growth. Really no update that I see related to water supply or relocation of Lake Whitney. Goal 2, foster transparency and connection. Still working with new software to create public-facing budget info. Still improving new city website. Staff is using in-person newspaper, website, and social media to share information regarding city initiatives. Meeting videos are on the city's YouTube channel. Goal 3, support preservation and beautification. No update on Oxford Stop. Amigos should be submitting new construction plans in December. Able Motel, they submitted their CO application. First CO inspection failed due to not being ready. Walmart, they have scheduled their final fire pump flow test for December the 2nd. Building and Standards Board, there's no meeting this month. We'll start back in January. The new street apartments, making great progress. No timeline when they will be completed. That's an updated picture of the new street apartments. We're still addressing grass clippings. When staff sees grass in the street, they're making contact. Chili's, they're making great progress. They've started framing and should be completed within 2 to 3 weeks. The plumbing rough is completed. Panda Express, Deputy Fire Marshal Carey and Building Official Edwin had a pre-con meeting with contractors on Monday, December 1st. They will be starting construction soon. Hillsboro Operation Local Mag, we had a meeting, staff had a meeting with them yesterday to go over some concerns they had. Very productive meeting. Delivery, efficient and effective government, comprehensive planning process, successful downtown activation plan kickoff, lots of input about what people would like to see downtown, lots of participation in the walking workshop. Several property owners consider projects to increase use and occupancy. Featured land use maps are being disrupted. Online public participation activity coming soon. Human resources, interviewing in December for fire major, adding a process improvement analyst to embed in the public works. Review our current methods of scheduling and completing tasks, and help us develop SOPs to be more efficient with our time and equipment. Some staff activity and events. City Employee Winter Celebration, December 11th. We'll also recognize staff's years of service. The Library Gala will be December 5th. Christmas Under the Stars Parade and Carnival, December 6th. Farmers Market, Christmas Market, December 13th. Mayor, Council, if you have any questions regarding those?
Council, questions? Okay, I have no further business. This meeting is adjourned.
Well, there you have it, folks. In one night, the city of Hillsboro managed to give us a historic council meeting without city manager Megan Henderson there to run interference and translate nonsense into staff recommends approval. A police officers association that thinks the police department address is their private union P.O. box, like taxpayer property is just a subscription service you unlock with a badge. A Chamber of Commerce director who apparently believes the First Amendment has a does not apply when my feelings are hurt clause. A municipal court that can't even spell public correctly and accidentally post a PUBIC order on the door like we're running a clown college instead of a courtroom. And a council so determined to push closed bids, pensions, and annexations that you'd think transparency was an optional DLC they forgot to install. We watched citizens calling out conflicts of interest and closed bid property sales that looked more like a backroom clearance event than an open auction. Activists from outside Hillsboro showing up just to remind the city that the rest of Texas can see you now. A jury trial so sloppy that reasonable doubt apparently got escorted out of the building along with the cameras. A retirement raise for employees, while the water system still looks like it's being ran off wishes, duct tape, and prayers. Annexation plans rolling forward with no cost-benefit analysis presented to the public. Because why fix what's broken when you can just make the map bigger, right? And somewhere in the middle of all this, you've got people trying to sue over satire, spreading rumors in bars, then getting mad when the watchdog says, hey, if you're going to talk about me publicly, don't be shocked when it becomes public. Here's the bigger picture. This isn't just about one meeting, one judge, one city manager, one chamber director, one council vote, or one shady bid. This is a snapshot of how small town power operates when it thinks nobody's watching, nobody's reading the Texas Constitution, and nobody's willing to stand at the podium and say, no, this ain't it. But guess what? We are watching. You saw it with your own eyes. People stepping up to the mic, calling out bad process, demanding transparency, accountability, and actual adult behavior from people who cash taxpayer-funded paychecks. And every time they roll their eyes, cut the mic fast, rush the vote, or hide the documents, they prove exactly why this channel exists. So to the folks who tried to intimidate, threaten, or rumor mill their way out of public scrutiny tonight, all you did was turn the volume up. You didn't scare this watchdog. You just rang the doorbell. Now, my call to action is if you want more cities like this to be put on blast, smash that like button so hard it feels it in the next agenda packet. Drop a comment. Tell me what you saw in this meeting and what we should dig into next. Share this everywhere. Facebook groups, local pages, your nosy neighbor's inbox, all of it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next round of public records, bad decisions, and we didn't think anyone would notice moments. And if you'd want to help keep this watchdog fed and in the fight, consider becoming a channel member, grab some merch, drop a donation if you're able, because around here, sunlight is the best disinfectant, and with your support, we're keeping the floodlights on Hillsboro, Texas, and every other little fiefdom that forget who it works for. I'm your boy BZ. I'm signing off for now, but not backing off.
Freedom of Information Act. FOIA. BZ Watchdog News Network. BZ Watchdog.